This is the Provoked Prawn, and this is the ASUS TUF Gaming M4 Wireless. This is the wireless version of the Gaming M4 mouse that I unboxed and reviewed recently, and I'll link to that video in the description. This is an unboxing and review video to talk to you about my experiences with this mouse and the highlights of it and the things that make it interesting. Now, out of the box, just like its wired brother, this mouse doesn't look particularly interesting. However, it is, because it is an affordable wireless mouse and one that uses either AA or AAA batteries, not an integrated battery. So that in itself is insane. It also comes with the connectivity options that include 2.4 gigahertz wireless or Bluetooth connectivity, and it's designed to be lightweight, as well as having 6 programmable buttons that includes a DPI switching button up to 12,000 DPI, PBT top cover that covers up your battery port, and an ASUS Antibacterial Guard, as well as PTFE feet on the underside, obviously, a lightweight body, and a number of other highlights. Now, I was struck immediately when I got this mouse out of the box because there's very little in the box, and that was a weird experience for me. Now, you don't get much in a box with a mouse usually, but what you usually do get is at least a cable to charge it with. This mouse doesn't have any cables because you can't charge it. It literally has no hole for plugging in a micro USB or USB-C cable, and the first sign that was a bit strange was a AA battery inside the box. I have never, in all the years that I've been doing this YouTube channel, had a mouse, a gaming mouse, with AA batteries in it, or AAA batteries for that matter, and I've certainly never had a wireless mouse that doesn't come with a charging cable. So this was an intriguing unboxing and a real surprise for me. It actually has more surprises up its sleeve as well, because when you open that cover, you'll find on the inside that there's a AAA battery tucked away inside here, and that's housed within a little case. And the reason for that is you can use both AA batteries or AAA batteries in here, and just one. And that little cover makes that AAA battery the same size as a AA battery, which means you can shed weight and have a smaller battery in there to keep the mouse a lighter weight, but also still have a decent battery life on it. And I was surprised by actually how long this mouse has been going, because I've been using it for long gaming sessions, for video editing and for working, and it's still using that AAA battery with relative ease. Housed inside the mouse is also the wireless dongle for the 2.4 gigahertz wireless, but you do as well have the option for a Bluetooth low energy connection. So if you want to save battery, obviously using the Bluetooth will maintain the length of how long this mouse can game for before you need to replace the battery. You get the spare AA battery in the box, which I swear they did just to show you that it's possible to go between the two and have the option for different lightweight. But it is nice to have an extra battery included, if nothing else. Very strange. Now, the other things that struck me is the feet are nice and slick. They are obviously 100% PTFE, but they're not scratchy, and it slides around the desk really easily. This is designed to be a medium-sized, lightweight-ish mouse that they claim is 62 grams. They also say it has an ambidextrous design, which I don't really agree with. Although it's symmetrical, there are thumb buttons on the left-hand side, and there aren't any on the right, so really it's for right-handed gamers. The buttons, however, are satisfying and have a nice click action to them, and it's very reminiscent of the wired mouse, except obviously you have the freedom of not having any wires. And there is actually a lot to be said for not having a wire, because when it's running low on battery, you don't need to rummage around in your drawers to try and find a charging cable, or you don't need to have a cable permanently plugged into your PC taking up room on your desk that then becomes a problem. If you want to hear the button click, stick with me to the end of the video and I'll include those without me talking over the top of them so you can just get an idea of it. But what I found is that they are a satisfying setup and it responds really well. I also like the setup of the side buttons. As I did with the wired version, it is comfortable. The buttons stick out nicely on the side and they're easy to feel and easy to access. One of the things that you might see from the clips as well is that the side has a very ridged texture to it on either side, which makes for some interesting grip setups. On top there's a DPI switching button, and you'll notice that it changes the color of the indicator each time you press it, and that's to represent the various DPI levels that are set there. You can also adjust things within Armory Crate, and I will show you that later on in the video as well. You will notice quite a matte finish to it. I said already that it has PBT top cover. It also has side buttons. Everything's a PBT setup, and it has the antibacterial design, so it's designed to keep clean and function well. Ever so slightly matte texture finish, and I found that during the gaming sessions it doesn't get particularly oily or dirty. I'm looking at it now and it still looks the same as when I first got it out of the box. Nice and clean, and it doesn't slip around. It has some very nice textures down the side, are quite rough, but that's actually beneficial. There's nothing worse in my experience than having a slippery, shiny mouse that just sort of is hard to hold on to when you're getting serious in your gaming sessions. The mouse wheel itself has that nice rubber texture, looks like a tire, and it also has some clicky feedback when you roll it, but it's not terribly obnoxious and it's not super loud either. It's quite pleasant. Again, if you want to hear the sounds, I'll include the clips again at the end of the video so you can see more of that. I am also making an ASMR version of this video if you want to hear it coming out of the box and other things, and that's going to be on my ASMR channel, so check that out too. Now, one of the things that I said was that I found that this is a slick mouse and it doesn't have much in terms of sort of noise that it makes, but I did find that for some reason when you push it forwards on the mouse mat, it does make a little bit of a scratchy sound. So I compared it with the SteelSeries Prime Wireless, which is a bit quieter and it doesn't seem to deliver a problem. So it's not an issue during gaming, but it's something to bear in mind. On the scales, you'll see that this mouse weighs in at around 79 grams. That is with the AAA battery and the converter holder in there. They claim 62 grams as the weight, but that's without the battery or the dongle, which obviously means the mouse wouldn't work, so it's not really a fair claim in my mind. If you use the AA battery, it'll weigh in at around 86 grams is the claim there. The difference between the battery obviously makes it a lighter weight if you're using the AAA versus the AA, but you also get less in terms of hours use. So for example, over 2.4 gigahertz with the AA battery, you get 134 hours. With the AAA battery, you get 53 hours. So you're basically like halving, and more so, over halving your battery life. If you use it over Bluetooth low energy, AA battery is 232 hours versus 100 hours with the AAA. I'll leave all this information in the description so you can check it out for yourself. But my experience is obviously not that many hours. Instead, it is actual day-to-day use. I've been using it 9 to 5:30 working, then into the evening editing videos and really long gaming sessions with friends as well on a Friday and Saturday. And I haven't had to replace the AAA battery yet. But as you'll see from later on, it is about 30% in the software, so it is running out, but I certainly haven't had to replace it yet. So I think, depending on the batteries you're using, you might find longevity in it. And obviously, sleep settings and other things will mean that it works longer, and also depends, it's going to vary from use case to use case. But it is interesting because obviously the battery you use influences the length of playability and the weight of the mouse as well. And I also really like the way they've set it up. It's an intelligent and very different use to what I'm used to seeing, and having the options there make it appealing. Now, in terms of specs, it's not mind-blowing. It has 12,000 max DPI, 300 max speed, 35 Gs max acceleration, 1000 Hertz polling rate, so it's pretty decent in the polling rate at least, but the max speed and IPS aren't that nifty. In real world terms though, I found it really useful for Rainbow Six Siege, for example. I haven't seen a negative impact on my play. I found that it has been enjoyable and a good gaming mouse to use. It's a nice round package of all the good things. You can reprogram the buttons, obviously. Those side buttons are easy to access, as I said. The feet are nice and slick, so it's easy to move around. It's got a good texture to it. The buttons are responsive. They don't say what switches are included, but they are guaranteed up to 60 million clicks, and they are certainly satisfying and actuate quickly. So overall, a pretty good package for what you're getting, and a no frills mouse without any RGB. One of the other highlights, a small one, is that the DPI indicator light, which changes colour to let you know what DPI level you're on, will also flash to let you know when the battery is getting low. So you will be able to tell when the battery is getting low before it suddenly runs out on you. So for example, now it's flashing red to let me know that actually the battery is getting near the end of its use. It isn't right near the end though, because you can set it in Armory Crate to tell you at a specific level. So for example, it's set at the moment to let me know when it's at 30%, it'll start flashing. So you can set that lower, and you can even turn it off if you like to live life dangerously. So now I'm going to go into the software and show you what you can do in there. Here we are in Armory Crate. You'll find the device is buried under the device settings here, the TUF Gaming M4 Wireless. The most interesting part of this is obviously going to be the customization options here, and you will see that you have onboard memory profiles as well. So I'll go into the buttons in a minute because I want to show you the rest of it first. You have 1000 Hz polling rate set as default. You can turn angle snapping on and off, and you will also notice that you can adjust the DPI levels. So DPI 3 is what I currently have selected, and as I press the button on the mouse it will show you that I'm going through the other ones and also the color that's represented by them. So you'll notice that DPI 1 for example is red, DPI 2 is magenta, DPI 3 is blue, and DPI 4 is green. And obviously you can go crazy and set it to 12,000, which is just bonkers, or you can go, and I had it around 1,600, which is fine. It's a good nice round number, works efficiently and is good for my personal use. Under the wireless power saving options, you'll see that the battery is now at 29%. This is the AAA battery still that was in there when I unboxed it. You'll also notice, as I said a minute ago, that the lighting will alert you when the battery percentage reaches a certain set percentage. So here it's 30%, which means that it's now constantly flashing red on that DPI indicator. So if I set it down to 20% instead, that light then goes off. You can also switch it to go into sleep mode, so perhaps setting it on a lower sleep mode might save the battery and make it last a little bit longer. Your experience may vary. Firmware updates it automatically gets anyway through Armory Crate. It's really very good at that, so you can see fairly straightforward. Now, a quick point of note is that you can record macros in here. You need to go to the device and go into your macro settings, and then you can set and record macros in here, and that's in a separate point of the software. Then you can also customize the buttons. You will notice that you cannot customize your left button, so it's impossible to do that, but you can tweak the rest of them, including up and down on the scroll wheel and something like scroll click. So if I show you that as an example, you'll notice there are a few different options: basic settings, including DPI switch, but also double click. So that is essentially a double left click. So you can program that as an interesting highlight. For example, we might switch out the DPI button for double click, and that means that when you press that, you're essentially tapping twice, which could be useful in FPS games if you want to just have a little burst fire mode. You could set that up, or you might find it useful for productivity reasons. You'll also have the option when you go into here, if we set the DPI, you can obviously see the macros, and then you get to choose the macros that you've then created. And then there are other options too. You can set, for example, to take a screenshot, have a Windows shortcut, launch Armory Crate, and stealth mode, which is basically a boss button. So when you press that, it will minimize everything and just show your windows. So you have the ability to program quite a few different things in here, including macros, keyboard functions, and much more. So for an affordable mouse, it's quite powerful and delivers some really good specs for the price, and has no cables included with it, which still blows my mind, and is a very nice feature, a small weird highlight of this gaming mouse. This has been the Provoked Prawn. Don't forget to stick with me to hear the clicks, the mouse wheel, and the sounds on the mat. Let me know in the comments if you've got any questions. Be sure to check out the description for all the specs and other information, as well as links to buy and other things. Thanks for watching. Big shout out to my YouTube members who support the channel. Really appreciate you. If you've got this far in the video and you enjoyed it, please remember to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. This has been the Provoked Prawn. Hope you found this video useful, interesting, hilarious, or otherwise. Take a look at these other videos that I think you might find interesting as well. And have a look at the description for links and other information you might find useful. Click that join button to see the benefits of being a member of my YouTube channel. And most importantly, have a great life.